Hi guys, Lulu here. Let's design a custom Twitch nameplate using Shaper 3D. I'll see you at the tutorial. Bye! So with Shaper 3D, it really is as easy as selecting a font. I have a few different fonts that I've downloaded and I do use regularly in my Shaper 3D. I just type out what it is that I'm going to be working on for my sign, scoot it over because I don't like it when it's on the axes because then it tries to link to things that I don't want it to. I do put a space in between each letter so that when I offset it here, the letters aren't bumping into each other. That's really important because later when we trim it all, we're going to need to move it first. And if I can't move it over, then it gives me issues later. So I put a space in between each word or letter or character, and then we can easily shift it over and we're gonna go ahead and start trimming things to make it one cohesive piece for printing. Now that I have all of my characters offset, we're gonna just scooch it over so that it's bumped up, the offset pieces are bumped up next to each character. If you do end up having the snap on for this part, then it might try to snap in a place that you don't want it to. Usually I do this with the snap off and I eyeball it. These are millimeter settings at this point, so if it might look a little off to the left or the right, it's not usually a huge deal because you can't see it. I always have such an issue with things like underscores or hyphens because then I've got to figure out how it's going to look when I print. So here we've got to actually make sure it's kind of at the same level as the lowest character in our sign. Which I ended up fixing anyways because I guess I didn't like it that way. Because I think what I'm going to do instead is we're going to go ahead and put a line underneath this so that it stands nicely on somebody's desk. Otherwise, that Q is the only thing it's going to stand on, and we don't need that. Now with everything shifted over, it's my favorite part. We get to trim all of these extra lines and things so that it makes it one block background. And I am doing all of this with my Apple Pencil, which is why I like Shaper so much. It gives me the freedom to do design work pretty much anywhere. On my couch, at my desk, on my bed, at my dining room table. And all I gotta do is upload the program, bring the program up, and use my pencil. We're just gonna finish trimming here. Now you can see here that the underscore was offset a little bit, so I just drew a line to flatten everything out. Finish doing some trimming here. We're at the very last couple of characters. Now this is when I have to figure out how I'm going to make it so that it's not sitting on that queue. This is going to take just a second, and really this is all personal preference. As you do things like this on your own, you'll figure out what works best for your needs. But for me, I usually play with rectangles. I like things to be really clean and neat and all one line. But this did take a little bit of kind of trying to figure out here. Might do a rectangle and then do an offset so that it meets that bottom part of the queue. Or you can just draw lines and rectangles. See, so now I'm offsetting it here and it matches up with the queue quite nicely. And then I get to go back and trim all of those extra pieces that we don't want. I am also using the professional version of Shaper 3D. This gives me access to uploading onto the cloud. It gives me a much larger storage database. I can use Shaper on my computer as well. So when you have the professional, it uploads for you automatically. And then when you go to your computer, you can pull all of these designs up and work on them as you need to. Just doing a little bit more cleanup here. Trim, trim, trim. It's my favorite thing to do. The design really comes together once you start trimming away all those pieces and you can start to visualize what the design is going to look like. That just makes me so happy. Whoop, see, there's a link there. I'm not a fan of how it links things automatically for me. I do use those features for more complex models, but there we go. I liked it. I liked the line. I was happy with it. Everything looks clean and fancy, and it's ready to be extruded. We had to import, so I already have the Twitch icon as a file, as a Shaper 3D file. So I'm going to go ahead and import that so I don't have to draw it every single time I do a nameplate. Now here's where I get to have a little bit of, I get to be a little creative with it. Where am I going to put the Twitch logo? Where does it look best? Am I going to tilt it? Am I going to move it? We always have to resize it, make sure that it's nice. Sometimes they want it on the left, sometimes they want it on the right. I like to use the Twitch logo to fill in gaps. So here we're going to use it and going to make that underscore a little less noticeable, or we can move it over here. I think this is where I ended up being happy with it. So now I have two sketches in my shaper, which isn't going to be a problem. I'm still going to highlight every single piece that I want extruded. And I am going to highlight every piece, and you'll see why in just a second. We're going to grab everything here. I'm going to make sure you grab those holes in the back. We've got the queen, and the E has a little hole. And then we're going to grab our Twitch guy. Now it's time for extrusion. And click on that little arrow there. It's going to give us a number. For these, I do 10, and I do 10 negative. I want it to extrude down. This way, I have access to the sketch on top. So now that the sketch is on top, I can extrude it positive up, and every time I extrude, I always extrude as a new part, a new body. This makes it easier in Bambu when I go to paint. Now we're just going to grab the parts that we want to have highlighted. These are going to be the white parts on the sign. I'm going to grab every piece and then extrude 2 millimeters. 2 millimeters gives me the best color at this size so that the white looks nice and bold. Here we are in Bambu Studio. We're going to go ahead and paint this piece. There are two different ways to do it. This customer wanted a pink sign. I do love the pink personally. It's my favorite. I think it's so pretty. So here we can have the whole thing be white, and then we're going to go ahead and fill it. We want to do edge detection, and we have that all the way up to 90, which is why we split the extrusions into separate bodies. That's my favorite. It's the fastest way to paint. I am going to show you how I do it sometimes if I need to do more than 2 colors. So here we're going to switch it. We're going to do pink is going to be the main, and then we're going to do white. Now, because we extruded with multiple bodies, I don't have to worry about whether or not this is painting the thickness of the 2 millimeters because it is painting the entire body as a part. See? The entire 2 millimeters is painted and it's pink on the back. No white on the back. So now when we slice it, you can see I'm going to try to fix this here so you can see it a little better. When you slice it, it's going to print pink and then it's going to print white. So I don't have any bleed through. I don't have any issues there. Thanks for watching, everyone. Please share, like, follow, comment, anything you can do to help support my channel. There'll be more tutorial videos in the future, and I appreciate every single one of you. Bye!